All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Project Better You 2016. I'm Andrew Morgan, known by many as the Goals Coach, and I will be directing this thing this evening. I just want to give you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be talking about and what today is all about. We've entered into a new year. It's 2016, and it's not uncommon that we start our new year with resolutions. But it's also not uncommon that those resolutions are dropped soon thereafter. In fact, studies have shown that somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 out of 5 resolutions that are made are dropped, and most of them, less than 12%, even make it to the until the end of January. So I'm going to assume that you're here because you have some things that you want to get done in 2016, and you're looking for a better way to get them done and a way to make sure that it happens. Well, you're absolutely in the right place. Today's webinar, I'm going to make a couple of adjustments. Today's webinar, I'm using Prezi. So I tell you that because you're going to see slides moving around kind of funny. It's not your computer. It's not on your end. Prezi works on a kind of a 2D platform, and instead of sliding left to right for slides, it finds it on the page. So you'll see that it makes it a little more dynamic. So I want to let you know that. And also, we're going to run for about an hour today. At the end, if this is something that's been helpful for you and you're looking for a little more in terms of help, I have something in place that can provide that for you. But again, today is really about getting yourself geared up and ready, on point, on purpose, and on fire for 2016. So let's get started. That's me, Andrew Morgan, the Goals Coach. Some of you know who I am. Some of you may be listening to me for the very first time. But what I do is I help people to basically produce the desired outcomes that they want to produce in their life. I'm not what you would consider, or I don't consider myself to be a life coach, because I usually help someone with something very specific. They're trying to get from point A to point Z or whatever it might be, and there are blind spots that are along the way. So what I do is help them to identify the blind spots and really help them to develop a mindset that's going to allow them to consistently produce the results even after they've produced them. My belief is that it's better to become a person who's capable of sustaining the results that you've obtained versus just someone who's able to get it done. Because if you can sustain the results, you've transformed yourself. We're going to talk about 7 secrets that successful entrepreneurs, world-class athletes, high achievers use to consistently get their goals done. What do I mean by that? Well, you may have noticed that there are those who can go from one goal, one dream, one objective to another, and it seems as if they're doing it without any effort. And then there are other people who really struggle to get just basic goals done. So what's the difference? What makes a high achiever versus the average achiever? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about why most personal goals are doomed to fail before they even begin. And we're going to talk about how you can avoid the 3 most common goal setting pitfalls. Now, I do want to share with you most of what I share today with you. It's probably not something that you've heard. I really take a different approach to setting and reaching goals. For me, I believe that it kind of speaks to who we are as humans that need to step up to the next level. And the approach that many of us have been taught to take, or that we've just kind of stumbled into to reach our goals, is the reason why most people struggle to get things done in that regard. So we're going to talk about those goal setting pitfalls. I also want to share with you some techniques to really help you to make meaningful progress towards your goals every day, and that's the key. And then a 3-step process to boost your energy, and some techniques that are going to help you to get clear and remain clear about the big goals that you have all year round. Now, I have to start by sharing with you my definition of what a goal is. There's a lot of negative feelings that's sometimes associated with goals. Often when I'm talking to people for the first time outside of what I do, and I share that I'm a goals coach, it's not uncommon for someone to look at me and go, "Hey, wow, I really need you to talk to my son or daughter. I mean, they could use some help getting their stuff together." But what they're implying is that it's not setting and reaching goals is not something for grown folk, that it's something that a young person needs to learn how to do, and then later on you just stop setting and reaching them. Well, My definition of a goal, which means that it's something that will always be a part of our lives, is that it's simply an aspirational experience that you wish to have that's a step above the experiences you're currently having. Think about that for a minute. Basically, what I'm saying is that you've experienced life personally and professionally at the level that you're currently at. And all you really want to do is to have a level or an experience that's a level or two or three or four or higher. That's all it really is. When you think about your goals simply as an experience, then we stop objectifying goals, meaning that we stop looking at them as something that we get or something that we're struggling to get to. It's just that if you've experienced being broke, maybe you're ready to start experiencing having an abundance financially. If you've experienced being overweight, maybe you're ready to experience what it's like to be fit and to be trim and to be attractive in that way, if that's how you describe being attractive. If you've experienced your career at a basic level and you're ready to go to another level, that's all you're looking for. It's an experience. So we don't have to mystify goal setting. We don't have to make it something that is so difficult and so heavy and that's connected to good fortune for those who can get it done and bad habits for those who can't. No, it's just simply that you want a higher level experience. So that's your first thing. And if you have something to write with, I suggest you write that down. A goal is simply an aspirational experience that you wish to have that's a step above the experiences that you're currently having. Nothing mysterious, nothing overwhelming, nothing super big. You just want better experiences in your life. So why do we have to have goals? Well, a couple of reasons. One is that random thoughts rarely produce deliberate results. A goal has to be organized before it can be realized. And that's what we're talking about here when we talk about setting goals. One of the reasons why a lot of people struggle to get things done, their goals in particular, is that they're just not organized. And think about this dare I say, a holistic fashion. You know, your life is perfectly structured to produce the results that you are currently getting. I'll say it again. Your life is perfectly structured to produce the outcomes that you are currently getting. So when it comes to stepping up to another level, we need to organize our resources in a different way so that we are able to do that. So one of the reasons why we have to have goals is that you have to organize, or is that goals will organize your thoughts, and organized thoughts will produce organized or deliberate results. That's what we want to get to. The other reason why it's important that we have goals is because of this. We are all incredibly busy. It's very rare that I'll talk to someone who wakes up in the morning and from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed, they have time, they're able to just sit there and stare at the walls. We are busy. There's so many different things that come at us in the course of a day. There's so many different demands, so many different roles that we play, that we're busy. And because we're busy, what that means basically is that you don't have time right now for the goals that you have. Now, I know you may be going, wow, that's that's not a cool thing to say. But what I mean by that is that it's basically that your goal is an in addition to task. It's not an in place of task. For many of us, when we step into that next phase or that next level, personally or professionally, what it means is that we're having to put something down, or just finding the time to do what we know we want to do and need to do is something that's competing with the life that you currently have. So by setting goals, you actually devote time to the things that are most important as it relates to the goals. So the idea here is that being busy and getting goals done, it's not necessarily the same thing. You can be as busy this year as you were last year, and find that at the end of the year, you're no closer to producing that outcome that you want. And we'll talk a little bit about inspired wins and what they are as we go through. So those are the two key primary reasons why you absolutely need to have goals. So let's move forward with this. I want to start by having you describe in 5 words or less 2015. How would you describe 2015 in 5 words or less? Was it overwhelming? Was it busy? Was it stressful? Was it filled with growth? Was it fun? Was it enjoyable? Was it a year of gains? Just take a minute, 5 words or less. Describe 2015. You got to do this fast because I want first thing to come to your mind. All right. So I ask you to do that because I want you to realize something. Whatever happened in 2015, good, bad, or indifferent, maybe it was a great platform that you're going to build on in this year. Maybe it wasn't. It doesn't matter. You have to understand, though, that the past is only alive in your memory, and it can only impact the now if you intentionally relive it. What I'm saying is that every single day you wake up, you're stepping into a new opportunity. You're stepping into something that has never, ever existed before. We've heard it so much that it becomes a cliche, but if you really take to heart exactly what that means. What it means is that the only reason today was like yesterday is because you intentionally had to create it so. Now, the beauty in that is that you can create a different tomorrow. You can create a different 2016. I don't want you to feel like you're stuck or trapped because literally it's a blank slate. It is literally a blank slate. Now I know you may be thinking, well, I got to go to the same job that I went to the day before, and I gotta, I've got the same challenges in that job, and I got to work with the same people in that place, and I've got, I have the same challenges with my finances, or I'm struggling with relationships. It's the same. We have to intentionally relive it in order to make it happen. The challenge is this, is that if you're not aware of the fact that you can create something different, the default is sameness, and you automatically recreate the day, today, tomorrow. So it's important. 2015, great year, bad year, doesn't really matter. You described it in 5 words so that we can put it in a little box and put that on a shelf. We are going to create 2016 the way that you want to create it. And the way we're going to do that is I want to ask you this. I want you to tell me, what do you want to accomplish in 2016? And I want you to think about this in the following areas. Physically, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want your body to look like? Where do you want to take your physical, your body in 2016? Socially, where do you want to take your relationships? Do you want to go deeper in the relationships that you currently have? Maybe you want to start some new relationships. Maybe you're looking for a mentor. Maybe you're looking to connect with people who are moving and grooving and getting things done the way that you want to get it done. Whatever it is, what do you want to accomplish in 2016 socially? Intellectually, what do you want to learn? What do you want to master? What skill do you want to develop? Spiritually, how do you want to connect with something higher and greater than yourself in 2016? Financially, and this is one that's always easy for people, because I think for a lot of people, for a lot of us, I'm not going to say people, I'm going to say for a lot of people, because we are one in the same. We may be in different places along the journey, but we are one in the same. So I don't want to forget what I've gone through as I'm telling you this, because I know what it's like to be in a place financially, and physically, and with a career, and really want to move it forward, but kind of struggling with that. So financially, what do you want to accomplish in 2016? What is it that you want to eliminate? What is it that you want to gain financially in 2016? Your career and or your business. Where do you want to take that in 2016? Take a minute to think about that. And if you have something to write with, I encourage you to just write down, what is it that you'd like to improve in the upcoming year? What would you like to enhance, eliminate, create, destroy, add, build, start, master, learn, go, start, stop, break, meet, whatever. I mean, just think about this year, and think about it not in the context of the previous year, not in the context of 2015, but in the context of a blank slate, or a blank canvas, rather, a clean slate. Think about it in that regard, and allow your mind to give some thought to that. What would you like to accomplish in 2016? And also, let me mention that there will be a replay of this. So I'm going to be moving us through pretty quick because of time, but you will have an opportunity to go back and really spend some time with the slides and with the exercises that I'm sharing with you. So I don't want you to feel rushed, but I do want you to begin to put your mind to this in that regard. And I'm just getting over a little bit of a cold, so I'll need to clear my throat as I go through. So I'm not being rude, coughing in your ear, but excuse me. All right. All right. So that's where we start with what do you want to accomplish? All right, so now let's talk about the 3 common goal setting mistakes that people make. These are the things that will prevent a goal from happening really before it starts, because it's how we set our goals that matter when it comes to really and truly getting goals done. Here are the 3 common goal setting mistakes. 1, the goal is too vague. When I say that it's too vague, what I'm telling you is that it's really what's become the cliche now. It's world peace. It's, what do you want? I want world peace. Well, it's too broad, it's too vague. And if it's not specific, if it's not clear, the goal is really doomed from the beginning, because it's just a wish. It's just a wish. So think about the things that you've written down. Think about the things that you want to get done in 2016 and ask yourself, is it specific enough or is it too vague? Again, too vague meaning that there are no details attached to it. There are no numbers attached to it. It's just this big thing that you would love to have happen. But if it's vague, it's a wish. And if it's a wish, if it's a want, it's something that you very often end up waiting on because you're not doing anything to move towards it. And as I always say, wishing, waiting, and wanting will only leave you and always leave you wishing, waiting, and wanting. The getting is in the doing, and the doing is when we have something that's actionable. So that's the first common mistake that's made. The other is that it's too vast. Now, when I say that it's too vast, I'm not telling you that your goal is too big. What I mean is that the checkpoints are too far out. So if you have a goal for 2016, and this is something that's going to be a little counterintuitive. If you have a goal for 2016, I don't want you to go by the end of 2016, I want to blah, 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 blah. That's too vast. Your goals are only alive when they're showing up in your daily activities. So therefore, your goals you have to break them down into very short, actionable steps. So instead of thinking out 365 days, instead of thinking through to the end of the year, I want you to think about the next 90 days. The next 90 days. Okay, 90 days. And your goals, you don't want to go beyond 90 days in terms of your planning. Because if you go out too far, again, it's too vast and it just won't happen. It'll be something that you can always put off until tomorrow. So that's a mistake. Think 90 days. And then once you think 90 days, I want you to take those 90-day project goals and I want you to break those down into 30 days. So in order to do this in 90 days, what do you have to do in 30 days? And then once you break it down into 30 days, I want you to break it down to 7 days. So in order to be here in 30 days, what do you need to get done over the next 7 days, the next week? And then instead of just looking out at the end of the week, I want you to look at and ask yourself, what do I need to do today? What do I need to do today in order to accomplish this by the end of the week so that I can accomplish that by the end of the month of the 30 days? And I can accomplish that project goal at the end of 90 days. That's taking something from being a very vast endeavor to something that's very actionable. And the third common mistake that people make when it comes to reaching their goals and setting their goals is that the goals are too vapid. Now, vapid is not a word that's used often. Excuse me. Vapid is not a word that's used often. But from an elocution standpoint, it works with vague, vast, and vapid. Vapid simply means that the goals are too dull. Excuse me. If your goals are not compelling to you, if they don't have the power to really push you forward, to compel you to do what you have to do in order to make it happen, it's not likely that you're going to do what you need to do in order to make it happen. So those are those 3 mistakes that are made. Too vague, too vast, too vapid. Look at your goals for 2016 and make sure that they're not falling into one of these 3 shortfalls. Make sure that those mistakes are not made. Take that vague goal. If you have a goal of being a gazillionaire and by December 31st, 2016, break it down. Break it down into what you have to do over the next 90 days. Break it down into what you have to do over the next 30 days, the next 7 days, the next day. And then if you really want to be specific and actionable with your goals you should be able to break it down to what you need to do in the next 30 minutes. What is it you need to do? Look at your goal. Ask yourself, what can I do? What can I do in the next 30 minutes to move this forward? If you cannot find a step to take within the next 30 minutes, your goal's it's too vague and too vast. All right. So make sure that those mistakes are not holding you back when it comes to reaching your goals. So I want to give you 3 simple rules to setting great goals. 3 simple rules to setting great goals. Know your numbers, live your goals every day, and have fun. What am I talking about? When I say know your numbers, any goal that you're working on, I don't care what it is, there are numbers, there are measures that are in place that you need to improve upon in order to produce that outcome. And you need to know those numbers. If I look at from an energy standpoint, one of my ongoing goals is to make sure that I maintain high energy, so that I have the ability to go all day and into the evening without dragging or without missing a step. So what are my numbers? Well, I need 7 hours of sleep a night, minimum. 8 on a good night, 7 hours on a minimum. And usually I come in somewhere around 7.5 hours. I know that number because I measure it. I don't leave it up to, well, I think I'm getting enough sleep. I know I use a sleep app. The sleep app measures the time that I literally fall asleep and my sleep cycles, and then it tells me the time that I wake up. I run that every night when I go to bed, and I can look at the last month and tell you my average sleep, the average amount of sleep I get a night. That's a number that's important to me, maintaining my energy, which helps me to reach the other goals that I have. If you have a financial goal or a professional goal, if it's a business goal, whatever it is, you need to identify your key measures. You have to know your key measures. If you want to set some great goals, start by knowing your numbers. If you're trying to get physically fit, and I know, some want to go the easy route, or you're looking for the easiest thing to do because the idea is that if I do the easiest thing, I'm going to be able to do it and I can get it done. Well, guess what? You can turn the TV on 7 days a week, 365 days a year, actually 24 hours a day. You can always find a commercial about losing weight, getting fit, whatever, and it makes it so easy and it makes it so simple. And yet there are millions of people who take advantage of those opportunities, who reach out for those opportunities only to find that they need to find the next opportunity because it didn't work. There's really no secret to reaching your goal. You have to know numbers, and that's basically what you're moving. If you're growing a business, it's knowing the number of customers you need to reach out to in order to find a new customer. If it's with your body, you should know how many calories are you taking in a day, and then how many fewer calories or what do you need to do to adjust that. If it's the number of steps, you want something easy with fitness. Look at the number of steps that you take a day. I'm big on technology because technology really allows us to be more aware of what's happening with us. So if I look at my physical goals, it's 7 hours of sleep, 2,000 calories or less, no more than 2,000 calories, and 5,000 steps per day. And those are my basic numbers. Throughout the day, I'm looking at those. Takes no more than a second or two, but know your numbers. I don't care what your goal is. They're numbers you need to know. Live your goals every day. Again, a goal is only alive if it's showing up in your daily activities. A goal is only alive if it's showing up in your daily activities, whatever you're working on. If it's not something that you can incrementally move towards on a daily basis, and you're not putting those measures in place to say, okay, I'm here today, I want to get this done. I don't care how much, it's not a matter of how much time you're spending. It's just that every day you're working on your stuff. If your goals are not alive in your daily activities, they are not alive. It's a wish. It's a want. and it's something that you're waiting for. Wishing, waiting, and wanting will only leave you wishing, waiting, and wanting. I was working with a young man years ago who was a college student, and he was kind of trying to decide where and what he wanted to do next. And he decided that he wanted to act. His brother was an actor, and was doing a pretty good job at that, to say the least. And he decided that was that's what he wanted to do. And so we talked through that process, and I asked him, what's your next step? And he said, well, I'll need to learn more about acting. Okay, so what's your next step? Well, I'll have to take a class. Okay, so what's your next step? I'll have to find a class and then register for it. Okay, and what's your next step? And we kept going through that process until his next step was right then and there, go online, find a class in his area, and then the next day to register for it. And my advice to him was that, if you're going to act, then acting has to become who you are. So I want you to think about your goal and ask yourself, am I prepared to become a person or the person that this goal represents? So, sometimes we think about goals in terms of what we get in the end, but you have to think about them in terms of who you are becoming. And in this case, it was a matter of him finding that class. So the following week when we had our session, we talked, and how'd it go? Did you get registered for the class? Yes, I'm registered. Great. When does the class start? The class started at that point. It was, I think, like 90 days away. It was like 3 months off before the next class started. Okay, so what's your next step? He goes, well, I got to wait for the class. What's your next step? Well, I don't know. The class does. What's your next step? What we ended up on is that right now, between that day and the day that the class was started, he needed to learn his craft, and that, maybe it's a book, and I can't remember exactly where he started with this. I believe it was through periodicals, but it's, you need to learn your craft every day as best you can right now. Don't wait for that class to start. So look at your 2016 goals. Look at your Project Better You 2016 goals and ask yourself, what's my next step? And when I say next step, what can you do in the next 30 minutes? And then from there, you need to look at what you can do every day, because your goals are only alive when they show up in your daily activities. The third simple rule to setting and having and reaching great goals is to have fun. Have fun. I've been working with individuals and teams to help them to produce desired outcomes for more than 25 years now. And one of the things that I've observed is that it's not uncommon for a person's goals to become a burden and to become no fun, something they got to do. I got to, with one client, it was getting a real estate license, and it was this big chore, and I could tell that there was no fun. You see, there are times when we're working on our goals, when we're working on our stuff, and we decide that the fun comes once we reach the goal. We decide that the fun comes when we get there. But let me tell you something. You have to learn how to find joy in the achievement of your goals, not the reaching of your goals. The reason I say that is because you're going to spend more time working to achieve your goal than actually having reached it. And once you reach it, what you're going to find is that there's time to set another goal. And so you set that next goal and you go back into that place where it's a chore and it's a bore and it's something that's just so difficult to get done, but you got to do it because you want to reach that goal, and you spend time trying to get there. And then when you get there, you move on to the next thing. And what happens is that you never truly enjoy the goal that you're working on. And it's the process. It's the process. I was talking to a friend a while back. She's an author. Literally, she's written over 100 books, written and has published over 100 books. And we were talking about this very concept, the idea of finding joy in the process of achievement, not at the end, but in the process. And she was going, well, I love writing. And we talked about it a little more, and it dawned on her that she loved having written a book, but she said the term that she used While she was going through it, and another writer friend of hers, they would call it that D book. I'm keeping it clean because I don't know who's online. I don't know how sensitive yours might be. So they would call it that D book. And that's the way that they would see that thing throughout their deadlines. She said it was joy when the publisher said yes, we want it, and they gave her, and she got the advance. And she said then there was joy when it was done and it was published and she could see it in print. But she said the process of writing was not fun. And she realized for the first time, this is someone who was at the top of her game, is at the top of her game in terms of what she does. And she realized in that moment that she wasn't having fun. So how do you find fun in the process? Well, one is that you connect with those who will benefit most from it. And if you can't connect with them directly, you need to connect with them in terms of having a sense of how this goal is going to impact not just yourself, but other people. Maybe it's family, maybe it's your customers, whatever it is. Maybe it's those who are watching you. And that's the thing about goals, is that we don't realize it, but there's always someone who's watching us. The reason why it's important for you to reach your goal is because your success is the inspiration that someone else's, or is an inspiration to someone else who's waiting and watching for a real life example of someone who can get things done. So think about them and have fun with it. The other thing is to just be grateful for the resources that you have and the ideas that you have and everything that's related to reaching that goal. Be grateful. It's not everyone who has a goal to do more. We think that goal setting is something that's automatic. It really isn't. Most are so overwhelmed by their daily routine that they can't think about anything beyond what they currently have and are producing in their life. So anyone who has the vision, anyone who has a goal, a dream to do more, to be more, to have an experience, an aspirational experience that's a level higher than the experiences that they've been having, you're a very special person. Enjoy that. Be grateful for that. Don't take that for granted. The key is to have fun. And sometimes it's just a matter of shifting our thinking. There are times when I will intentionally, as I'm working on something, I don't care how boring it might be. I don't care if it's not that thing that everyone gets to see right up front. I tell myself, I'm loving this. I'm enjoying it. You have to kind of re-script and retrain your mind intentionally. It doesn't happen as a default. You might feel like it's that D book if you're a writer or whatever it is. You have to shift that thinking. You can't wait for something outside of you to shift it. You have to shift that thinking. So have fun. That's the third very simple rule to setting great goals. Keep these in mind because every day you want to make sure that these things are working for you. Know your numbers and moving forward. Live your goals every day and have fun doing it. Have a lot of fun doing it. So I want to talk about the 7 secrets that high achievers use to get their goals done. And what I want you to do is, as I'm going through these, I want you to think about your goals, the current goals that you have, what you want to get done in 2016. And I want you to even kind of think about a time when you've had goals that didn't work for you. So maybe you have something that you feel kind of stuck with, or maybe you have something that just didn't work and you want to make that happen in 2016. Because what we're looking for here is connected learning. I want you to think about what I'm saying, not from the standpoint of intellectual discernment, but I want you to think about what you're doing. I always encourage people, as the late Dr. Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, would encourage you, don't think about what you know to do. You may see this and go, yep, that makes sense. I got that. I want you to think about what you're actually doing. So the first secret that high achievers use to get their goals done, these are top athletes, top celebrities, top business owners, super successful entrepreneurs. You can take anyone who you know of, either personally or indirectly, and you can look at what they're doing and you will find these 7 secrets at play. The first thing is that routine rules. Routines rule. High achievers literally obsess over routines. I used to I've done on Blog Talk Radio, a little 4-part series with Sidney Moncrief. Sidney Moncrief is a 5-time NBA All-Star, played with the Milwaukee Bucks. one of the, just one of the great all-time players, and professional athlete. And Sydney has really done a great job in transitioning from sports to business life and on. And one of the things that he shared with me, he asked me, he said, would you say that Larry Bird was a better player than I was? And I kind of hesitated because I didn't know where he was going with it. But he said, "No, it's okay." He goes, "Larry Bird is a better player. Was a better player than I was. He played during that Larry Bird era and young Michael Jordan era." And he said, "Would you say Michael Jordan's a better player?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "The way that it works when we have an away game is we fly into the city as a team. They put us all in the same hotel, and there's a bus that takes us from the hotel to the arena that we're playing in that evening." He said the bus runs shuttles, so it usually starts at about 4 o'clock, and it goes up until to the hour or so before the game is actually scheduled to start. So they have an opportunity to get in the arena well before any of the fans get in, well before the public can access it. And he said his routine was they would arrive, he would rest. He would get on the first shuttle that's going to the arena, and he would be one of the first players from his team to arrive at the arena so he can do his warm-up drills and just get his mind right for the game that's about to take place. He said every time they played Larry Bird, or I'm sorry, the Celtics. I'm not saying Larry Bird was a whole team because the Celtics comprised of many, many other great players. But every time they played the Celtics, he said he would arrive. He'd be the first one from the team to arrive at the arena. He said by the time he got there, Larry Bird had already finished his warm-ups. And he would see Larry Bird running around the top of the arena on the inside of the arena doing his running warm-ups. And he said whenever they played Chicago, whenever they played the Bulls, same thing. He never got there before Michael Jordan, and very often Michael Jordan was the only one out on the court when he got there, and he was well into his warm-up. My point with this is that a world-class athlete, their life is simply a matter of routine. They're very rigid in what they do because they understand that success does not come from a single event, that it comes from a series of connected events. And so routines rule. The average achiever, they go at it haphazardly. Maybe they have one good day doing something, the next day they don't, and maybe it's a good week and maybe it's not, or whatever. Routines rule. That's the first thing. Focus less on what you want and focus more on developing the characteristics and the routines necessary to become a person capable of sustaining the results that you desire to produce. Routines rule. Your goals are only alive when they show up in your daily activities. Second thing is to use clarity to increase intensity. One of the things that those who are at the top of their game, those who we consider to be the well-known household names, one of the things that they have the advantage of is that they are very clear about the benefits of doing what it takes to make their goals come true. They're very clear. And, if you look at an athlete knows that, once you become a professional athlete and you sign the contract, you're going to get a lot of money. So when you're a kid, that picture is reinforced every single week when you watch a professional game. That picture of what it looks or what it's going to be like when you reach that goal is very clear. An A-list actor, that picture of what it's like to be an A-list actor is very clear. A world-class politician, those pictures are clear. And so what we don't realize is that it's not the intensity is not coming from their personality. It's coming from the fact that they have a very clear picture of what they want to achieve. So when you look at your 2016 goals, what I want you to do is this. I want you to find a way to clarify. And when I say clarify, I don't mean just in words. I don't mean just in your mind. The more senses you can involve in reaching or painting a picture of what you're getting, the clearer you are and the more intensity will naturally follow in getting that done, the more focus. occurs when you're clear. So if you have a goal in your business of taking it to a certain level, you want to get around others who are already at that level, because what you'll find is that you'll get real clear. They are the personification of your goal reached, and you'll get real clear. You'll get super clear. I remember the first time that I met Les Brown and actually had time to get to know him a little bit, and the intensity was increased 1,000 by just knowing him and getting a very clear sense of where I can go with this. And that picture became clear because it was personified through him. So look at your goal and identify things that you can do to get really clear. If you have a particular goal for a thing, I know for some it might be, I want this, and it's okay. Whatever your goal is, there is no judgment. There is absolutely no judgment. Don't judge yourself, and don't let others judge your goals. If you have a goal, the scale and scope of the goals that you're trying to reach is just that. It's a matter of scale. But when you become a person who's able to produce desired outcomes, you will automatically grow in what you are working to do. So don't focus on that. I don't want anybody listening to think that, my goal's not big enough, or I'm not really looking for world peace, or I don't want to run $1 billion company, whatever it is. Don't worry about that. But whatever your goal is, I want you to immerse yourself in it. I want you to experience it. So where I was going with this is that if you have a financial goal, or if you have a goal to get a new car, whatever it is, you need to get in that car. If you have a goal with relationships, you need to get in that. You need to get a better sense of what it feels like. And the more senses that you can involve, that you can employ in doing that, the more clarity you will have. All right. So clarity increases intensity. High achievers know that. They know that, and that's the thing that's driving them. Average achievers, they get lost in the everyday stuff that's going on, and they lose sight of their goals because their goals become fuzzy from an outcome standpoint. The third secret that they use is that they set goals that are worth more than they cost. They set goals that are worth more than they cost. Average achievers set goals that are, it's like, well, what it takes to get there, I don't know if it's worth the time. I don't know if it's worth investing the money. I don't know if it's worth investing the energy in getting there. They don't say that outwardly, but that's that self-talk that's going on. Your goals have to be worth more than they cost. Reaching your goals has to provide for you a value that's greater than the time, money, and energy that it's going to cost. Time, money, and energy are finite resources. And finite resources, what I mean is that time, money, and energy it's limited. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get more of them. I'm not saying that you can't leverage your time to get more time. I'm not saying that you can't get more money than you currently have. What I'm saying is that in this moment, what you have is what you have. So if you feel that the goals that you have are not worth all that you have, then chances are they're going to get pushed to the side. Daniel Burnham, make no little plans, they have no magic to stir men's blood, and probably themselves will not be realized. Make big plans. Aim high in hope and work, remembering that a noble logical diagram, once recorded, will not die. Your goal is a noble logical diagram of a higher level experience, and it has to be worth more than it costs to you. Now, how do you do that? One way that you do that is you sit down, you grab something to write with, and I suggest that you write it out, not use Word or anything like that. I suggest that you write it out. Sit down with pencil and paper. Make a list from 1 to 100. List the benefits that you will receive when you reach your goal, and keep it handy. What happens is that the benefits, when you define and when you write out the benefits, what's happening is that the value of that goal increases as the clarity increases. It works And don't trust me on this. Actually, you don't have to take my word for it. I want you to do it. And I'm telling you, it's one of those secrets that will add more energy, more purpose, and more focus to what you're doing. That's something high achievers already have a huge list that says this is the most important thing in my life. For the average achiever, they don't. And you need to create that list so that the value of your goal is worth more than the time, money, and energy that it's going to cost you to reach it. The fourth secret that high achievers use to get their goals done, and this is something that average achievers almost always miss, is that they know how to build a strong team. You can pick up a copy of Forbes, Success, any magazine, People magazine, whatever it is, Wall Street Journal, whoever's on the cover of those, whoever's being lifted up as the world's greatest this, that, or the other, what you will find behind that single face, behind that single image, behind that person is a team of people who are helping them to get this done. One of the things that high achievers are really, really good at is building a team behind their ideas. So when you look at your goals that you want to set, that you've set in 2016, ask yourself, who do I need to reach out to? And you need to build that team. There's a young man who I know who is an artist, and he had something he wanted to pursue, and he wanted help with his business plan on it. We were talking, and I said, well, writing your business plan, you got to draft this out, and you really want to identify the people who are going to help you to get this done. You need a team. And he goes, well, maybe I should do it by myself first. And I pointed out to him that if your idea is not strong enough to attract other people to help you to work on it, then you need to go back and add more to it. You need to go back and put more meat on the bones of that idea. So high achievers know how to build strong teams. Here's the thing with average achievers. They work on their goals all alone. They work on their goals isolated from the rest of the world. They don't seek advice. They don't form alliances. They don't have support. They often feel alone in the pursuit of their goal, of the endeavor. And as a result of that, eventually the emotional weight of trying to change their life becomes so heavy that they slip back into sameness. So build a strong team. Look at your goal and identify that team for 2016, the people that, and for many, that's the role that I play as a goals coach. I'm a part of their team. I'm that person who's helping them to identify blind spots, to take this to the next level, to make sure that their mindset is not getting in the way of what they want to get done. But absolutely build a strong team. And something that I love to put up is the idea that the pace of the herd becomes the pace of the horse. You're only going to run as fast as those who are around you, those who you spend most of your time with. So you want to make sure that you're running with horses who are going to get to that place, or a place similar to the one that you want to get to. The fifth thing that they do, that high achievers do, fifth secret, is that they focus on abundance. They are aware of the abundance that they have in life. Please understand this. You're going to get to that next level, not based on what you don't have, but based on what you currently have. I don't care what your goal is. You move based on the abundance that you have. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't have enough money to do this. I don't have enough time to do this. I don't have enough support to do this. You need to look at the abundance that you have. You need to, as they say, count your blessings. You need to pay attention to the things that you currently have. If you have a goal to get to the next level, guess what? You have to know and understand that you have what you need in order to get there. But correct that. You have what you need in order to take the next step. The only time that you can't see what you have is when you're focused on what you don't have. Life comes down to one of two perspectives. Either you're focused on lack or you're focused on abundance. Focusing on lack always disempowers, it weakens, and it destroys. Focusing on abundance actually grows. It enhances, and it gives you the energy and an awareness of the resources that you currently have to get to the goal that you have. It also opens your eyes to resources that you just might not be aware of. So focus on abundance. Average achievers, and I hear this, when I'm working with someone, typically in the beginning, is that they make the mistake of focusing on what they don't have. Well, I want to get to this, but I really don't have that. And they think that the next step is what they're lacking. When in fact, the next step very often is not something that you're lacking, because the next step to reaching your goal, which is the most important step in the process, the next step is actually, it actually comes from what you have around you, and it's something that you can do in the next 30 minutes. So working with a young man who was worked in construction, and he wanted to have his own contracting business. That was his 5-year plan. And we talked, and I asked him, well, what's your next step? And he told me, and if you work with me as a goals coach, you will hear me ask you that a lot, because very often that's what we forget. The reason we don't move our goals forward is because of the fact that we have lost sight of that next step that's right in front of us. And either we're looking to the left or the right, which is meaning that we're looking at the distractions around us, or we're looking so far down the road that we're looking at the point of lack, and we're missing what we have. What I asked him was, what's his next step? He said, well, I need to get a new truck. And I'm like, why do you need a new truck? He goes, because I can't run a contracting business with the truck that I have. I said, well, if you had a new truck tomorrow, would that make you a contractor? And he told me, we laughed, but he told me, no, it wouldn't. You see, for him, his next step wasn't what he didn't have. The next step was what he had. He had a job as a construction worker. He had an opportunity to learn from a contractor. His boss was a general contractor. He had an opportunity to learn from his boss. He had an opportunity to master certain skills and to develop certain skills. And those opportunities were right in front of him. That was his abundance. And when you look at the abundance, you find your next step. Average achievers, as I said, they look at what they don't have and they kind of go, oh, well, I'd love to, but I can't because I don't have, and I don't have the connections, and oh, I know it's great for that person, but I can't do that because of, no, focus on the abundance. You have what you need right now to take the next step. The sixth thing, sixth secret is that they develop and practice mental toughness. What do I mean by mental toughness? Well, we all have a point at which we give up. It's not a sticking point, it's a quitting point. The difference between high achievers and average achievers is that high achievers stay in game on mode much, much longer than the average achiever. In other words, mental toughness means simply that they will not give up, and that challenges are not something that scare them. Challenges are something that excites them. And I don't, even when they win, they stay in game on mode. Average achievers reach a roadblock. They reach a level of difficulty. They reach something that just didn't go right. That point where I thought this would happen and it didn't happen, and oh my goodness, and it's just not going to happen. And then they go into game over. And if you're not clear about what I'm talking about, I want you to think about a professional championship game in sports. I don't know if you're a Super Bowl fan or basketball or baseball or hockey or golf or whatever it might be, but in any sport, when there's a competition that's going on and you have one person who falls way behind, it's not uncommon that everything they try to do just falls apart. Because when you go from game on to game over, instead of looking for a way to win, you look for a way to exit. You look for a way to get out of it. And so you go through the motions, but nothing works because you're actually trying to exit. You're trying to get out of that thing. You see it with teams who are way, way behind. You look over at the bench and you see heads drop low. You see them staring up at the time clock or staring at the scoreboard in disbelief. They have that faraway look. In their mind, it's game over, and they just want to get out of there. Those who come back are those who stay in a game-on state of mind, even when the odds are against them. And that's what you want to do. You want to develop and practice mental toughness. The seventh thing is that the seventh secret is that they believe beyond belief. They have certainty. They have purpose. Missteps, mistakes, misfortunes, they happen to all of us. They come and they go, but those mistakes, missteps, and misfortunes are not something that will derail their efforts. They believe beyond belief. When everybody's telling them, you know what, maybe you shouldn't do this thing, their mind is still game on. They still believe. They still know that they can get it done. And it comes across not in their words, but in their actions. I am so tired of us just saying what we want to do and talking about about our big goals and our big dreams and the things we want to do, and not demonstrating it by our actions. You know, if you want world class, you have to act in a world class way on a consistent basis. Look at your goals. Ask yourself, who do I need to become in order to be able to sustain the goal that I want to reach in 2016? And then you got to know and believe beyond belief by becoming that person in your head, such that it doesn't matter if you stumble or fall. You are that person. You know and you believe beyond belief that you can get that goal done. Average achievers are looking for outside influences to validate their goals. They're waiting for somebody to tell them, oh, you did a good job, or oh, you can do that, or oh, yeah, I'm behind you, or oh, yes, we want that business, or yes, you're the greatest, you're number one, you're number one. And it doesn't happen when you're working on your goal starting out. That's something that happens possibly, if ever, way down the road. But average achievers are depending on the outside influences. You don't want to do that. So when you look at your goal, remember that it is your goal. It was given to you for a reason. It's not like you have a goal that's so unrelated to who you are and who you can become that it's not who you are. It is who you are. So you have to know and you have to believe that beyond belief. Now we're coming up to the end. It's 8:56, and I told you we want to do this thing in 1 hour. I've given you a lot of information. As I said, the slides will be available. You'll get a link for the replay. You can go on YouTube and take your time with this if you want. Work through it. Take your goal. Make sure your goals measure up against the 7 secrets that high achievers use to get their goals done, so that this year it's what you use to get your goals done. In terms of energy and clarity, 3 very simple tips to maintaining high energy and being clear. One is that you connect to your goals every day. You break it down into very actionable steps, and you take those steps and you get it done. That will increase your clarity. Teresa Amabile and Stephen Kramer, in their book, The Progress Principle, shared through their research that the only real intrinsic motivation that a person can experience comes from reaching, and rather making, meaningful progress towards meaningful goals. Your goals are important. Your goals are absolutely important. You must make that progress. You have to make that meaningful progress, and you need to do it on a daily basis, not weekly, not monthly, not yearly, but daily. Some closing thoughts I want to share with you: that today is the day that you've been waiting for. It really is your time. You are here at this session for a reason. There's something that you know you need to get done. There's something that you know you are able to get done. And if you reach that point where you maybe stumbled, had some missteps, mistakes, and some misfortunes in the past, forget about it, because this is your time. This is your time, and today is the day that you've been waiting for. So remember that as you go forward. I also want to encourage you to make sure that your actions show that you're more committed to your goals than you are to your excuses. That's really the only way to get your goal done, is to take action, and make sure that what you do shows that you are committed to your goals, not for the rest of the world to see, but for yourself. Make sure that it's showing that to you. I encourage you really to live your dream, because the fact of the matter is that one day we all wake up and realize that all we ever really had was all we ever really needed. And what that thing was, what you have and what you always needed, is a dream and a little time to transform that dream into reality. Today matters. Today matters. Tomorrow matters. So live your dream. Don't be afraid. Don't worry about it, whether or not it's happened or to what degree it's happened in the past. Live your dream today. Live your dream in this moment. And the last thing that I want to share with you is that, you've seen this probably 100 times, but your comfort zone is that small circle. Where the magic happens is outside of your comfort zone. So it's important that you do something every day that scares you a little bit, because ruts, those places that we get stuck in, I like to say that it's where we bury our dreams. And the deeper you go into your comfort zone, the further you're going to move away from your potential. And you don't want to do that. Use your goals as a way to stretch and be the best you that you can possibly be. I mentioned at the beginning of the program that we'll have something in place for anyone who may need a little help. Hopefully this is giving you a boost and it's giving you a jump start. If it has, please share comments with me, either on the video replay, which, as I said, will come to you when you go to YouTube to look at it. Share a comment there, or on Twitter, or wherever it is. I really appreciate that. But if you feel like you need a little more help, on the screen you see my email address. And for the first 3 emails that I receive after this session, I'll give you a free 15-minute goals coaching session. It's my gift to you. It's also a great way to go a little deeper into what we've covered today and to get some specific help and some specific answers to challenges that you may have had in the past, and really just to help you to kind of get clear to move forward. So just send me an email. It's real easy. It's Andrew@aboutgoals.com, Andrew@aboutgoals.com. It would be my absolute pleasure to help bring some clarity and to help to your goals for 2016, and to help you truly be the best you that you can be in the upcoming years. I believe in you. I feel, and I know, anyone who takes the time to invest in themselves, anyone who takes the time to be in a session like this, I believe you're an amazing person, and I want to help any way that I can. So that is it. I will close the way that I always close, which is to tell you and to encourage you to get up, to get out, and to get going. I want you to live fully and on purpose and with intention each and every day. And I want you to know that the world is really a better place because you are in it. I just want you to make sure that what you do today, tomorrow, and every day is an affirmation of that truth. It's been my pleasure. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And send me an email if you'd like to talk further. Thanks so much.